This is like in you wearing.
Oh, yeah.
Basically. There's a coin there. Come to find out. Welcome back. We're the Bourbon Junkies.
Oh, I got to ask you about an order. Put a pin in that.
I know what you're talking about. Did an
email
come through about it?
Yeah.
All right. So.
He's Dan, I'm Sean.
And we're here.
We're already off top.
We're doing the thing. But we figure out the camera thing. What time is it? 9:06? Actually?
Not bad.
You know, pretty much normal for us at this point. Don't forget to click go live. That wasn't the issue this time, but we did have a different issue.
Yeah.
Had like 2 computer reboots, camera swap,
Hot swap. My laptop and StreamYard and the new camera don't play well. So we just are using the old camera because it seems to work.
So tonight, sponsor of the live stream is obviously, as you see on the screen, Alec Bradley Cigars.
Serendipitous.
Oh, there you go. Kind of worked out.
Bam.
All right. There's a blind face sitting right in front of me too. So
put that
listen,
there for you.
If you guys haven't tried them, pick up a few Alec Bradley cigars. Personally, I go Blind Faith or Prensado. I've been on a Prensado kick.
I know. I see you've smoked through about half a box of them.
I've been trying to eliminate our supply.
Yeah. I like how you said our supply.
Fast order. Sean tried to steal some the other day, stole them back. So
no, I stole some the other day.
I know you did.
Yeah.
Looks grainy. That's on you. That's not my fault.
The best we can do is 720, baby.
No, it's not. It's actually 1080.
No, it's not.
We pay for StreamYard. It's 1080. We pay $30 a month for this service, sir.
Okay. 720.
And we pay less than I thought for this service.
720.
So, as you guys know, all right, Tommy. So, listen. Obviously, as always, thank you to Alec Bradley for supporting the channel, taking care of the community, being a part of this, all of this, and making badass cigars. So,
yeah,
if you guys are into that, listen, there's a lot of places online. If you can't find them local, there's a ton of places online. So,
smoking. Will you close the door?
Sure.
I just watched 4 flies.
Well, we got that thinger.
Doesn't help us right now.
If we move it, it might.
Nope.
Possibly. So, the other thing that we got going on tonight is we got a couple 1-2 sirs from Blue Run.
Specifically 2.
Listen, we're going to have the co-founders. There's 2 founders. There's co-founders. We have them on tonight from Blue Run. I don't know if you guys have had Blue Run, the 13 years, the one we have sitting in front of us. There's a sample of 14 sitting right up there. We have not tried yet. But tonight might be the night for that.
Yeah.
Fly Lord. Literally, it landed in my eye again. I swear to God, they just go, ah. So anyway.
They love you.
So, we actually put that Blue Run 13-year in our
very high. I think it was
top 10
3
last year for sure.
Yeah, but I think it finished like top 3.
So let's say top 5 to be safe.
Yeah, we'll do that.
And they have some more stuff coming out. They just did a drop, which we can talk to them about in a little bit, and they have a bunch of more stuff coming out in the future here. So we're gonna bring them on. We're gonna talk to them. If you guys have questions, you can ask them questions, so on and so forth. Introducing.
Do the thing.
Sir Mike and Sir Devon.
Oh, you did it.
And I did the other thing. You're welcome. Nailed it.
Maybe, Devon. There we
go. How's it going,
guys? What's up, guys? How you doing?
Hey, what's going on?
How goes it?
So
Really
far,
good.
so good.
Good.
So far, it's a pleasure watching you guys warm up.
Yeah, they get to see us be like, hey, just a sec, everything's broke. We're going to be right back 14 times in a row.
It's very normal.
Well, we're glad to be here. It worked.
It probably seems like we were late, but weirdly, this is like on time for us. So
yeah,
this is all literally, basically at this point, everything's according to plan. You know what I mean? Am I wearing it? I'm not. I am not. Are you guys drinking yet tonight?
I am. I got a little of Blue Run here, of course.
Of course.
Makes sense.
Which one though?
I got the 14-year.
See, now you get to say which one, which is cool. Like
No,
before, it was like, I have
cool.
Blue Run.
I've got the one.
Yeah.
That's right.
So I'm drinking some Blue Run at 3 years old that we're just given some sample, or we're sampling a little bit.
All right.
Where I am today, it's only 3 o'clock, so I started a little bit early. But I was really excited because I've been talking to Dan here for a while now, and like I woke up this morning and I'm like, yeah, I could do Bourbon Junkies today. So this is a big day. This is a big day for me.
Well, thank you guys for coming on and hanging out and shooting the shit with us and whatnot. So we appreciate it.
Yeah, our pleasure.
Thanks for having us.
Equally as much, I appreciate you guys putting out good whiskey in a cool looking bottle, because here's the thing. if it looks cool, I'm gonna buy it at least once, right?
Oh, we've been duped by that a lot.
Right. And so often like if you aren't aware of a brand and you take that leap, especially in like a premium price range, there have been like so many letdowns, especially with like higher age statements and whatnot. And then we open this, or I opened this before Sean wasn't here, and I tasted it. I'm like, you just wait.
That's normal.
This shit's crazy.
Like, I'm saying it's normal that you open stuff before I even
100%
know it's
accurate.
here.
I deservingly open everything first. I drink it without Sean. I need my time alone with it. And then I share it with Sean.
It's like you go and pick up packages.
So needless to say, super cool bottle, obviously. And you guys coming out of the gate with something like this that looks like this with that age statement and tasting like that at that proof is fantastic.
It's a statement.
So
we were looking to make a statement. You know, it's funny you say that about like, you know, you've been burned before, because one of the first things Rutledge told us was, you know, people are going to buy it. People are just going to buy your bottle because it looks cool, but they're only going to buy it once if it sucks. So we've been really aware of that, hyper aware of that, right? Like everything needs to be top shelf. It needs to be really, really good. Devon here, who you see, Devon McKinney in the Blue Run hat, designed this from top to bottom, and so he deserves all the credit for what it looks like and you know how people are responding to it.
That's awesome.
Well, thank you, Devon.
Yeah,
you did great.
Yeah, no, it's my pleasure. I mean, look, that it was intentional. That's a little bit why I'm involved. I come from a little bit of a design background, you could say, and we had an amazing whiskey legend in Jim, and collectively we love bourbon, and so for us it was about kind of bringing those two things together. Like, how do you bring high design, beautiful aesthetics together on the outside and have something that can match it, obviously on the inside.
Right. Well, oddly standalone too, right? That's the thing is like literally a cajillion bottles of whiskey on every shelf right now.
Yep.
And so to put something out in like a new bottle, different bottle shape, with a different label, it's clean on the front. But yeah, man, I don't know how much you guys want to go into it, but you guys are more than welcome to talk about why you started, how you started, stuff like that. So
I would like to know that.
Yeah. Well, we'd love to tell you that.
All day, guys. Yeah. This is what we do. So I'm gonna let Mike kick it off.
Okay. Sure. So this goes back a handful of years now, and we've been really excited about this from the beginning. And it all started when one of our partners named Jesse McKnight, who's from Kentucky, called me one day and said, in that beautiful twang, I got somebody who wants to sell me some barrels of bourbon. What do you want to do? And like I was kind of thinking, okay, maybe he's got like somebody's got a couple barrels. The answer is kind of like nothing. It's not doing anything with them.
Sure.
Right. But we started looking into it more, and it's great to be a bourbon fan, and not to fast forward to, I'll go back a little bit, but it's really hard to take barrels of bourbon and put them into bottles and bottle them and put them on shelves and get them in people's hands. It's like there's a lot of rocket science involved in making that happen. So it can't just be like, oh, this is our passion. We have a passion project. This is a hobby. We want to make sure everybody was in. But from the very beginning, our vision for this was trying to do something that was not like ordinary. You see a lot of ordinary bottles on the shelves. They're wine bottles, and they have like tan labels, and they're called like old Sean's or very, 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 very old Sean's. They put their whole story on something that's the size of a postage stamp, and you got to get a magnifying glass to read it. And it's like, we weren't looking to just be another bottle on the shelf. We wanted to do something that really jumped, right? Like when people walked into a bar or restaurant or lounge or wherever you drink, or like to your set there, like the bottle needs to jump off the shelf.
Sure.
so we started building the team, and Devon immediately popped to mind because he's at Nike right now. He designs sneakers and other cool stuff. And I was driving on Fairfax Boulevard.
Me neither. Oh, we're back. Hold on.
Oh,
Can you hear us?
Yeah, I lost you for a second.
Yeah.
Got the
Hold on.
spinning
I don't know
wheel.
if it was our side or not.
Yeah.
Dan's
I
checking
think you guys got bored. You were bored with what I was talking about.
No, that
No,
wasn't
absolutely
it.
not.
Our laptop.
Let me go do
Is
something
pissed.
else.
They tried to push the fast forward button. The whole
Yeah.
Here,
No, no, we're here for the ride.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So, I don't know where you lost me, but I had this theory that we could kind of sneakerize the bourbon industry,
Sure.
and turn it into something a little more modernized, a little more stylish. Not that I am, but that's why I call Devon, because Devon is. Right. Like I think last year, was it last year or the year before, he had like 3 of the top 10 sneakers as voted by one famous fashion magazine. And it's like, when you kind of want to put your finger on the pulse of like what consumers like, Devon's the guy to
Right.
talk to. So
Well, see, the thing is, it's funny because what you're talking about also is like a lot of people who were into bourbon and still are, but a lot of people who were into bourbon were older, right?
Mm-hmm.
And now what we're coming into is the generation who's younger, getting into whiskey, getting into whatever, rum. It doesn't matter what it is at this point. Getting into something and then liking that as a hobby, or having one thing and wanting to try something else, so on, whatever. Shoes are
Devon's
crazy
great
right
to talk
now.
about that.
Like,
shoes
yeah,
are
well,
crazy.
shoes are insane, right? So with like, I looked you guys up and kind of some of the backstory because we didn't know anything about this when we drank it, and then we put it in the blinds for whiskey of the year. Didn't know anything about it. Didn't know any sourcing. Didn't know who made it, where it came from. Nothing. Right.
I think we still referred to it as like the butterfly bottle for
Yeah,
a while.
right.
We had no idea. It was like, oh yeah, the butterfly bottle.
It ended up, the funny thing is, so I started doing some research, and then you start looking who was on the project to launch. You guys kind of did a little bit different because you guys didn't throw like this huge mass market thing out, right? This bottle wasn't super easy to find, and it wasn't super cheap, and it like none of that stuff was how it came out. And
I've already seen a couple comments that said, tell them to stop selling out so fast.
Yeah, make more.
Yeah, just make more. All right.
But with you guys doing it the way that you did it, it feels younger, and it feels more in touch with like a newer era of whiskey, which I think is coming in right now. I think people want to take it a little bit less seriously. I think people want to have a little bit more fun and enjoy it a little bit differently. And that pisses a lot of people off that have been in whiskey for a really long time. But the cool part is it's a bunch of new people getting into a new hobby, right? So,
yeah.
I mean,
you got to shake it up every now and
you
again.
guys putting
are doing
together,
great.
you guys putting together like a dream team to put out this limited release of whiskey. The team is insane. So if anybody wants to look it up, you guys, I'm sure, you guys have talked about it briefly, but it's crazy.
Well, thanks for that. It's something we're pretty proud of, and I will say, Mike makes it sound like it was a little bit of, hey, we got some whiskey. Like, what do we do with it? It wasn't that. It's a long process. And part of the discussion was like, well, actually, Mike did mention this, but it's like, should we do this? Like, just because we can doesn't mean we should.
Sure.
And a lot of what you guys are talking about is exactly the conversations we had of like, where is the opportunity? Who's currently getting talked to, and more importantly, who's not getting talked to, and how can we service maybe a little bit of a newer consumer, right?
Yeah.
And that's our core values as a brand. We landed on that really quickly of like, hey, let's not take ourselves too seriously. We can potentially age down a little bit. There's an opportunity to be much more inclusive in terms of who we're talking to. As we know, the whiskey consumer is not just a white male in the middle of America. We have, you know, women and a diverse crew of whiskey drinkers or demographic. And so
Sure.
all of those kind of mixed together, like kind of gave us the answers we wanted, which was, yeah, there is an opportunity, you know?
Sure.
And so, you know, all that being said too, I think it was never the idea to change bourbon, right? To change whiskey wholehearted, like holistically. It was, how do we evolve it? You know, like that's why Jim is on the team. That's why Jesse, who is the most Kentucky person you've ever met, is certainly on the team to keep us grounded, you know, and paying homage and respect to what the industry has done and has accomplished, and what's probably amazing in terms of the history of bourbon and whiskey, but how do we kind of put our own spin on it?
Well, I mean, realistically, this, like, I mean, no offense, but it is what it is. You guys didn't make the whiskey, right? This isn't like Blue Run distilled whiskey. It can't be at that age statement, right? I don't think that's a big secret. I think there's still, I mean, this is still very much bourbon, and it's in a great form of it, right? There's something like you're talking about, kind of like you don't, like, you're not ditching the historical aspect of bourbon. Listen, Sean and I have talked about putting together different whiskeys and doing stuff, and I completely agree that this idea that everybody, I don't think Sean or I's grandpa's made moonshine. I don't think that if we launch something, we have my granddad did this thing in the backwoods of Tennessee. We don't have that, right?
Yeah.
I don't think most people have it. And I think a lot of brands have run off stories that maybe didn't have it, but they made it up, and it kind of sticks because it kind of fits the brand, right?
Yeah.
Running it in a different direction is super cool. I'm happier when people run. There's another distillery out in Colorado named Mythology, and they're doing something similar where they're not running it back to super old stories from the 1800s. It's like, let's come up with something cool and new. Let's do something new.
Right.
We can use all the information we have from people who've made whiskey and done a really good job and all this stuff. We don't have to copy, like, you know, my grandpa's uncle's cousin, like, had a still and got, you know, arrested 42 times. Like,
I would just say we're in we're in like such a smarter shopping era of consumers that everyone knows how to use Google and can find out this information.
That's true.
So you put those false stories out there, you're going to get busted.
Yeah.
People are going to be like, that's not at all true. We know where you got it. No one cares about, you know, getting stuff that's not your own juice. It's how you get it and put it on there and make a good product that people care about. I mean, that's what we do.
Yeah,
I mean,
you're absolutely right.
Authenticity is key. Authenticity is key, right? I mean, like, you know, way back in the beginning, I thought, okay, maybe I can tie this back to this weird tangential relationship my family has to the Hatfields and McCoys, and it's like, what does that have to do with anything? Right.
It
has nothing to do with anything. You know, Devon's great grandfather, you know, didn't leave him a house, and Devon and I didn't like crawl through the attic and find this like magical mash bill sitting there, right?
Written in blood.
Written in blood. We didn't, you know, sure, we sourced this and we're pretty transparent about it, but, like, you know, I'm sitting here, and one of the things I had earlier today was this little sample that I'm pretty sure came from the same source, but it's proofed entirely differently.
Right.
It's not the same. I feel like maybe with the Rutledge Magic and how we proofed the bottle that you have there, you know, it's like it's got some pixie dust sprinkled on it. It's pretty damn good.
Okay, real quick, because a lot of people, I've read the comment over and over, is real quick, because I want to get this one off the screen. Did Ollie inspire the butterfly? Somebody asked that like 4 times.
Great question. My lawyer would say no. No, you know, there's a few inspirations for the butterfly. A lot of people ask that. You know, it kind of started. Well, we knew what we wanted to do. I knew I wanted to kind of create an icon, very much, you know, like a logo for almost a sports team or something. I wanted to create something that's simple and it's strong and it just resonates, right? As we were kind of going through a creation of the brand, Jesse McKnight, who we've mentioned before, our Kentucky guy, he grew up right across the street from Elijah Craig. Now we're going into our old whiskey story. But,
Right.
but hearing him kind of describe kind of growing up, there's the Royal Springs right behind the house, which is arguably, where the first whiskey, the first bourbon, I should say, was created from that water. That's where Jesse grew up. He was always telling stories about playing on the banks of that. And he was telling us about that river and how they actually called it Blue Run. That's where our name comes from.
Ooh.
And as we kind of prodded a little bit more of like, hey, what was that like? Like, what were the visuals, as you remember growing up? And he was always talking about the Viceroy butterfly, which was always on the bank, flying around. I think it's a Kentucky state butterfly, as a matter of fact. And we thought that was kind of a cool thing. And then ultimately also, once we started talking about it more, butterfly has some pretty symbolic meaning, right? From a caterpillar to a butterfly, there's this metamorphosis that occurs. We like to think we're evolving, like we said, the industry and changing in our special way. And so that's really the core of where the butterfly came from.
Okay.
I'll leave it to other people's imaginations of the other kind of symbolism with the butterfly that is associated with Kentucky. But legally, no, Ali has nothing to do with it or our brand.
So the other thing a lot of people have asked in chat so far is like availability for distribution at the moment, and is it online at all?
So let's see. The 14 year is in distribution right now. It's let's see if I can name all states: Kentucky, Georgia, South Carolina, Tennessee, DC, Delaware, Maryland, Illinois, Colorado, California, and Canada. And then we're targeting online on Stillbox around about July 7th, I want to say.
Okay.
And
Are you guys
I didn't hear Michigan in there.
Yeah,
Unfortunately.
I don't, and I'm gonna be honest. I'll move to Canada because we're pretty close.
It's that close. They won't want us.
But if all I got to do is get a bottle of whiskey through customs, we're good.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So we just poured that 14 year, which we hadn't had, but I have seen on Instagram and on social media, I've seen like the black label moving around, right?
Yeah.
I'm gonna be
Guys,
dude,
trash.
that's
No one
wild.
buy it. What were those states?
Yeah, don't. And you know what? Don't even open your bottles that you purchase.
Just send them to us.
Help us find them, and we'll just help you out. And that is
That's fantastic.
that'll definitely be in the blind again for whiskey of the year. That's crazy.
Did you
That's
think
really
the proof
crazy.
was sneaky on that?
What?
Like I smelled it and was like, it doesn't smell that. I picked it up. It was like 113 or is that what
It
it was?
smells so
113.
good.
I smelled it. I drank it. It was
It
like,
smells
oh,
amazing.
oh.
So the we like the 13 obviously, and when I saw the 14 on Instagram and then somebody sent a picture of it, I was like, it's out. Like I knew it was coming, but I didn't know when, and it's out. And then Alec from Alec Bradley, he sent me a text the other day, and there was a King Kentucky, a Blanton's Gold. I think it's Blanton's Gold. I don't either straight from the barrel, one of the two, either way. And then the new Blue Run, the 14 year.
I'd buy 2 out of 3 of those.
And I told him, I go, dude, tell me how good that Blue Run is, because we know how good King Kentucky is. It's one of the best whiskeys we've ever had. And we know how good Blanton's Gold or whatever is. And he goes, I'm going to be completely honest. It's not my bottle, unfortunately, but it's ridiculous. And
Nice.
and I messaged him back and I'm like, that's the worst news ever for me, because I currently don't have a bottle in front of me to drink. And he goes, I'm going to be honest, it's holding its own in the lineup. And I'm like, that's crazy, man. Like, so that's from somebody who has no affiliation, who doesn't know you two, who doesn't speak with you two, like in a random conversation, right? Like literally completely random. He texted me that because he was drinking it. Like, dude, it's crazy.
That's awesome.
That whiskey is fantastic. So
Yeah, that's awesome to hear.
We're really proud of it. I mean, we're really proud of it. We think that, we do think that it's really good and it can stand up to the competition. But we're also excited about some of these. We're laying down new fill, right? We're not gonna be sourcing forever,
right.
And we got some really good shit coming.
Can you guys talk about are you guys contract distilling?
Yeah,
is that what you're doing?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. So we did. We were at Castle and Key last year, and we're over at Bardstown Bourbon Company.
Oh,
now.
nice.
Oh.
Okay. I know a lot of people right now, like
A lot.
Bardstown must be doing stuff right because a lot of people are starting to contract distill with them.
Mm-hmm.
And I know Bourbon Pursuit, a podcast, was just talking about how they're laying down, or they were using like Bardstown's 4-year when Bardstown's not even releasing it till it's 7 because Bourbon Pursuit was happy with it at 4.
Those. They were lucky to buy some of those 4-year BBC barrels. Right. And so those should be really good. But I think, one of the cool things that we're doing is it's not like we're just going in and saying, BBC, here's our mash bill. Please distill this for us. We're sending Rutledge in.
Okay.
Right. So these are going to be Rutledge distilled at BBC.
That's awesome.
Distilled at.
That's even cooler.
That's very cool.
That's amazing.
Yeah. So, it's kind of, we like the fact that we're trying to broaden the audience of bourbon drinkers. But we also want to stay rooted, like Devon mentioned earlier, to kind of the heritage of the industry through people like Jim. I mean, he's as legit as they come.
Mm-hmm.
So we've got some fun stuff coming. We've got so the 14-year on the heels of the 14, we've got our first rye coming, a golden rye. It's gonna be delicious. It is delicious. It's delicious.
Is that our internet again?
Mm-hmm.
No,
I'm still here.
Oh, okay. I just assume
Hey guys, it's delicious. I'll just pick up where he.
Yeah.
No, it really is, and that's actually the rye that also won in San Francisco. So we were super blessed in that competition. We won for the single barrel, the 14-year, and then also we have a rye which Mike was talking about, that one gold, which is our first rye. Super happy with that one. It is delicious. Obviously,
are you guys small batching? Like, is the rye a bigger release, and is it age stated or no?
Yeah, so the rye will be a much bigger release, at least in context of what we do and what we've previously done. The single barrel and the 13-year and the 14-year, I think out of those three, the most amount of bottles we've done is like a little over 5,000 on the 14, right? And so we have, I don't know, maybe 4 times that for the rye.
Oh, wow.
It's a little bit younger, and it's more accessible from a price point too.
Sure.
I think it's just under 100. So.
Okay.
Are you guys looking to add like any mainstay bottle for your line, and then keep doing projects like this, once a year, or what?
Yeah, I think, Mike could talk about it probably a little bit better than I can, but yeah, I think, it's a constant conversation, right? Mm-hmm. We set up ourselves, and we are passionate about providing really high-end product. But, I think the ongoing conversation is like, can we still maintain that level of quality and, for lack of a better word, luxuriousness, with like lower price points that are more accessible. And I think, that conversation is definitely becoming more and more real. Again, I just kind of explained the rye, which is, that's for our little company. That's a pretty big one, and we have a younger bourbon to follow that one up with similar kind of units or bottle counts. So I don't know, Mike. What do you want to add to that? Mike is frozen. Mike is frozen.
He's
He's very still. He's like a statue at this point. So there's a distillery here in Michigan that has done something kind of similar. They had a bunch of sourcing initially, and they still do the sourcing like as limited drops every now and again.
Yep.
But they have like a mainstay rye, mainstay bourbon. They're both much younger, basically unage stated, but much younger.
About 5 years at their own stuff,
give or take.
Yeah.
But honestly, the thing that I like about that is they've done a really good job transferring from sourced stuff to their own distillate.
Yeah.
Because, dude, I'm gonna be honest. There's a very large brand that I'm a humongous fan of that was bought by Constellation recently that started introducing their own distillate in and lost the source at the same time, and shit hit the fan for me. Like,
took a little dive.
I went from like one of my favorite whiskeys of the year to like I wouldn't even buy 2 bottles of this type thing. You know what I mean?
Right.
And it was just a poor, in my opinion, it was a poor management of moving from source distillate to, younger craft distillate or whatever. I think separating those products can make that a lot easier transition. And then like if you found one of the limiteds, you're even happier because you're you're used to that 5 whatever younger age day whiskey. That's it is whatever it is, but
yeah. Well, and look, that's one of the benefits for us is we're still small, we're super agile. We're not a public company, so we aren't bound by some of the same of the things that drive the bigger companies. We don't have to put out,
sure.
You know what I mean? Like we're okay. Of course, we want to get our stuff out there and we want to build the brand, but we want to do it the right way.
Sure.
So what I'm saying is we're fortunate enough to not be forced if we don't think the product is right or what we want to achieve. I mean, ultimately, we don't have to.
Right.
We don't have shareholders that are like hounding at us of your quarterly numbers or something.
Yeah.
That's one of the benefits of being a little bit of a smaller craft brand.
Okay. And
go ahead. Sorry.
I'm back, guys. Sorry. I just want to add that Sean's I think Sean's been in charge of my Wi-Fi here, so it keeps crapping out on me. But we never wanted to be the brand where it's like you walk into your favorite liquor store, and the guy in front of you bought the last bottle, and don't worry, the sales associate can't come, is carting over another 10 cases to fill up the shelf, right? Like that's not our thing. We're not Bullet, right? It's got, if we're going to offer a luxury proposition, a luxury proposition isn't like, cranking out, 1 million bottles a month. Right. It's going to be a little bit more difficult to find, but if you find it,
sure.
It's great. Now, I don't know if Devon covered this, but, we're kind of looking at about 4 releases a year and then some Easter eggs along the way.
Did you say 3 or 4 releases a year?
4.
4? Okay.
Yeah. So they'll
one
be,
a quarter.
They'll fall season.
That's not bad. Yeah.
Yeah. And then we want to layer in, we want to keep providing like really, really, really good stuff that maybe there isn't a ton of product available,
Sure.
I think that's exciting for people and that's exciting for us and just kind of having those different kind of tiers of types of product is kind of like, I think, how we see ourselves going forward.
So which one? Okay. Legally on this channel, you have to be honest with this question. Which release so far, including the rye, so of the 3, has been your guys' favorite?
Devon, you go first.
Of the 3, so now we're talking personal preference. I'm not 100%. I'm not speaking for Blue Run. I cannot be held legally responsible, but my personal preference, I like a little bit of a milder bourbon. The single barrel was so flavorful, so amazing. Yeah. For me, it's just a little too spicy. For my palate, right? And I still go back to, I think what you guys are drinking, that 13-year is really, really tasty. For me, it does what I want it to do on the front end, on the palate, and on the finish. So I think I'm going to say the 13-year. Yeah.
Okay. Fair.
I think it's a total bullshit question.
It is. Yeah. 100%.
Like Dan came up with it, of course.
What the fuck is this? Like, what's my favorite? They're all my favorite. It's like, which child is your favorite?
Very fair.
Right.
No, but here's the thing.
But I'll tell you this. No,
you still have an answer.
You might have one. Yeah.
I'll answer the question because each release has been my favorite at a time. However, I'm most excited about the rye. I think this rye is just absolutely fucking mind blowing.
I'm excited.
It's amazing. And the design that Devon has for the butterfly, I think is unique to the space. Cool.
Okay.
And I don't want to blow too much, but I think there may be perhaps don't bank on this, but perhaps a St. Patrick's Day surprise. That is it's bourbon or it's rye, but it's gonna be art. I mean, it's gonna be absolutely gorgeous.
So can you share like proofing or pricing or age on the rye, or no? Is that undercover?
Yeah,
still?
Sure. No. The price is gonna be I think $99.99, $100.
Okay.
I think we proofed it at what, Devon, 95?
95, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's 95. This is, it won a gold in San Francisco. The crazy thing about it was though that, it was a good, 6 to 8 months younger. When we entered it into San Francisco. So, it's kind of like, let's pull a sample, let's proof it, and let's submit it and see how it goes, right? Like, it was way younger than it's going to be when it's actually bottled.
Are you real quick?
This rye,
we got a couple.
Rye is the thing.
Couple questions.
See, the thing about rye is rye doesn't have to be as old as bourbon. A lot of people who really like rye or into bourbon, whatever. It's one of those things like Willet 4-year is like a $60-ish whiskey. And it's fantastic, and it's 4 years old. You know what I mean?
You can pull some 2-year ryes that'll blow your mind.
Yeah,
but
we've
you
had
pull some 2-year bourbons that'll blow your mind in the different direction.
to blow your mouth off. You're
Yeah,
done
pretty
drinking
much.
for the
Yeah.
night. Like,
Absolutely. I mean, we're our good friends are the Peerless guys.
oh yeah, yep.
And look, I mean,
Okay,
the
dude.
ryes that they're putting out are like phenomenal,
Okay.
absolutely delicious. And I think what's the age statement on that? Like 4 years?
Well,
I don't know.
I think they're up
they're
to 4.
2-year. The Peerless 2-year rye, the single barrel that they did, the 2-year single barrel rye was amazing for me. I thought, I was like, wow, this is 2 years. It's unbelievable. So that's just proof positive that you don't have to age a rye for 10 years to make it good.
Right.
Like you say,
We have one of the worst, and it's a standalone.
Yes, it is.
We have found out since.
Yep.
We have one of the worst bottles of Peerless Rye that's ever been made.
It's a tainted bottle.
There's just like, it's tainted whiskey. And so
Really?
we've had people who are huge Peerless fans
Mm-hmm.
have like a bottle of Peerless Rye with them. It was another YouTube channel, Sam Bobby from iWhiskey She Wines, and they love Peerless. And specifically they loved the 2-year rye at the time. And so they're like, there's no way you guys are wrong, blah, blah, blah. So we brought them a sample when we met up with them. We brought them a sample of our bottle of the 2-year rye. And they drank it and they're like, that something's wrong with the whiskey. And I was like, that's Peerless. And they're like, no, it's not. And they got theirs and we're like, oh shit, no, it's not.
Yeah,
okay,
and
our
we've had
bad.
several samples from then, and we're like, wait, so we just have a one-off bottle? All right.
Yeah, we have like a handful of tainted bottles. Like we have a tainted Elmer, T. Lee. We have a tainted Hancock's. We have a tainted Peerless. We get like the shit luck on like just like weird chemically, just terrible.
Yeah,
like
they're bad.
Like Sean calls them pond water. They
Are
just
you,
taste weird as shit.
You storing it like in the sun or something? You like
No,
leave
no,
it in the
no,
microwave
they're
a little
like-
too long?
They're purchased and then we open them and they just taste like shit. Like there's not even a window in this place. So
Yeah.
it's crazy.
Hey, I will tell you guys one thing that we've learned since we've gotten into this business is every bottle should have a little identifier on it. It looks different depending on what it is.
Yeah.
I would assume if you could find that little code and send it to Peerless, I mean, they would be able to tell you, when it was bottled, where, like all the information about it.
I know the Elmer T. Lee that we have was confirmed in a tainted batch.
Yeah, the laser code.
The laser code matched up is
Yeah.
a batch that they came out and said, yeah, these are bad.
Yeah. Real quick, Keith said,
How bad is bad?
How bad?
I picked it blind out of 20 whiskeys.
Okay, so this is like a super old video. We're talking like 2.5 years ago. We're in a different building with like Sean and I are doing a review, and Sean says I could pick this out of any whiskey we own. I'm like, bullshit. So, and he goes, I swear to God. I go, you think you can pick out 20? He goes, 100%.
Yeah.
So I poured 20 glasses of whiskey in like,
it was like every glass we owned.
it was like every glass we owned at that point. And I said, you get one guess at this, and we recorded it and everything. And he went through it and he picked 3 or 4 out like right off the rip. And one of them was the tainted one. He went through and tasted them again. He's like, that's the one. And he got it out of 20 whiskeys.
Yeah, it's there's something about them that like it tastes like stale pond water almost. It's just it's something you're not supposed to be drinking.
It's not like it's corked. That's the weird part.
Yeah.
Like there's like corked whiskey, which tastes like that weird woody, like shitty, I don't know. But this is like, it's almost like a chemically weird introduced flavor. It's very odd, but
just a little bit of antifreeze. Don't
just
worry
a
about
tiny bit. Fireball did it for years.
it. Yeah.
So Keith Casey Weld said, no pressure, guys. How about sending a case of 6 to the junkies to auction off live? I think that's illegal. Thanks for the super chat, buddy. Tommy D, send me a bottle of everything you have put out, and I will tell you you're my favorite. Just saying. Thank you for the super chats, guys. And then Red, White, and Boosted Saz 18 or Drain Pour. Oh my gosh, dude.
Haters.
Okay.
What's funny is so many more like people that we know like Handy more than Saz 18.
Do you guys drink whiskey outside of Blue Run stuff?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yes.
Okay, so there are some people just like choose not to, right? Like outside of their own whatever, their own distillate or whatever, their own blends or sources. What do you guys drink? Like, what's your go-tos right now outside of Blue Run?
Heavy question. Mike, you
I'll do.
I knew it.
It's a really difficult question, right? I picked up a bottle of Old Soul the other day.
Okay.
Let's see. I mean, I'll drink any of the E.H. Taylors, but I like single barrel.
Fair.
You know, there's what's the Woodford that's like 20 years old?
Wait, is
like,
it the fake fine, very fine and rare one?
Yeah, the very fine rare.
Dude, the marketing on that is trickery.
Yep.
I'm convinced.
It may be trickery, but it's damn good. And then
He likes it a lot more.
I like it. Yeah, I do.
And then there's a Lock, Stock, and Barrel. They've got like I think it's Canadian.
Shit. Yeah.
Like it's a 20. Is that like 18 or 20 or?
They've done different releases.
Yeah, I know the
so there's
18
there's an 18 and a 20. There's a 20 at Saginaw.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
I think it's 20. It's really good. It's like spooning brown sugar into my mouth. It's amazing.
Oh shit.
Dan's in.
Here's the problem. The fact that you just said that kind of ruins everything because there's one in around about 45 minutes from here that's for sale. I saw like last week. But I think retail in that bottle is like $400 or something like that. But here's the thing. If it tastes like brown sugar, I'm kind of willing to pay $400 for brown sugar. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, exactly. Right.
Brown sugar that can get you brown sugar
sugar
that can get you drunk is better than normal brown sugar that costs way less. So
it is. Though you could probably go buy a bottle of vodka and just mix it with brown sugar. See how that tastes, right?
Right. It's probably real grainy and sandpapery, I'd imagine.
Maybe, but if you blend it, I think if you blend, like, just stick it in the Cuisinart, you're good to go.
Will it blend? I like
Will it blend? There you go.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, that's
Devin, what do you drink?
You know what? I'll give you my latest, and yeah. So I'm a late bloomer when it comes to rye. I've been like exclusively. I've always drank bourbon. I love bourbon.
We were too.
Until we created a rye. Shameless plug there. But what I'm saying is that actually opened me up to kind of like some of the other uniqueness and opened me up to trying some other ones. And actually what I've been drinking, Whistle Pig has I think it's like a 6 year. I think it's called Piggyback.
Yeah.
You know, 6 years old. It's actually really, really good. It's like $50 or something, you know, and for a daily drinker, it's like really tasty. So I've been hitting that one.
All right.
The other ones, and I don't know, people might hate on me, but I really like Maker's Marks. Maker's Marks, kind of like, I don't know what they call it. They're kind of like special releases.
Oh yeah.
Okay, dude. Here's the problem, right? The problem with what just happened in this live stream right now is now, like you said, listen, everybody likes some whiskey. There's a reason. There's like, we don't like a Dickel, and there's a million bottles of Dickel everywhere, and somebody's buying it, right? They're still in business. But we're fans of the Whistle Pig. But Sean's the biggest Maker's Mark fan you've ever met in your entire life.
I don't know whether that's true.
I swear to God, I've never met a bigger Maker's Mark fan. Dave Pickerel literally handed the reins to you at one point and said, "You know what? You like it more than I do." Now I will say the Maker's Cask 46 I like a lot.
Yes, absolutely. You can find that anywhere, you know, for a daily drinker. Yeah. And look, I don't really pay attention to exactly what the bottles are called, but they do their little like SE whatever. Every one I feel like I've had are like really, really tasty. And again, like I'm talking about everyday drinkers.
Right. Yeah.
There's the bottles that are like, you know, amazing that you just don't pull off the shelf on a Tuesday.
Dude, how about those names being the worst marketing in whiskey history? How about that?
The wood finishing series.
They named them 6 completely random characters that I will
They're
never
not
remember.
Not you, yeah.
Right.
They know it.
But I'm a pretty normal whiskey consumer, if we're being honest. So
You're right. You're absolutely right. Actually, now that I think of it, and actually, I've gone back to buy what I had before, and I'm not sure if I'm
Right.
buying the same thing anymore.
right. Dude,
Because there's a whole new set of numbers, right?
right. It's like the Four Roses recipes. There being 10, that's about like 7-ish too many. You know what I mean? Like, if you want me to remember a very specific strand of characters or letters in a row,
Yeah.
you're gonna have to make it catchy or something. You gotta do something. Maybe make a jingle and market the jingle.
Oh
I don't
my
know,
God.
man.
Yeah, it's like the Wi-Fi password at your parents' house.
That's the most
Default
accurate
Right.
depiction of Maker's limited wood finishing series I've ever heard in my life.
I gotta ask. Nick Foles said, "What shoes did my dog design?"
Is that the quarterback? We got the quarterback in the house, Nick Foles.
It is, yeah.
it's him.
Listen, he's a huge fan, you know,
Yeah,
and
He
you know,
is. He always says that.
yeah, he's
Now I can see the text right. DAWG. I was like DOG. Like I didn't get it at first. You know.
Dog. I
He
thought
was
I
being
heard a
literal
snake
with
on the
the dog.
W.
I
do you wanna go on that?
that directed at me. I don't know. Am I supposed to answer that?
yeah. Are you
Yeah.
allowed to talk about that?
I'm not going to get into specifics.
Okay.
But yeah, look, I've been fortunate enough to work on some amazing projects. I'm a creative director for Nike footwear, so I've been involved in just about everything over the last 10 years, one way or another. I'm not claiming that I was the designer, but I lead a big team of amazing and talented people. So. You know what? It's like, to be completely honest, you name it, in some way, I've probably been involved. Fortunate enough, yeah.
So listen, chat. I don't give a shit if you care about my questions or not now, because I'm going to talk about shoes for a second. So listen,
Oh, I had a question. I had a follow-up question for him.
is it about shoes?
Yeah.
Okay, mine is too.
Okay.
Okay, so in the shoe situation, so before you were in your current position, did you design shoes, like design a shoe?
Oh,
Yeah,
Can you
perfect.
talk about that? And did you like
I was
that?
going to say, what was your first shoe?
Oh,
Like first big shoe that you did?
Yeah, it's a little sensitive.
Okay. Dang
Yeah.
Dang it.
he's like, shut up.
Hey, look, there's 2 things I can talk about forever, and it's whiskey and shoes. Those are my 2. Aside from that, and I have a new baby. Those are the 3 things that literally take up
Congratulations.
every single hour of my.
Sounds like you're in the right industries then, honestly. So
What are you wearing right now? What do you have on your feet right now?
you're not asking me that, are you?
Yeah, I
might
want
be,
to.
but I'm asking Devin. I mean,
Oh,
what's
you guys
your
are
wearing?
absolutely gonna love this. Listen. I
got
like to
flip-flops?
call myself a fashionista. All right, I got a couple 1-2 flip slides on, dude. That's what I got.
Nice.
I have a boot.
Oh, Sean's a redneck. You guys, so
Oh,
you know,
yeah.
These are
yeah,
like dress
good.
boots. Okay, thank you.
listen. That's what a redneck says when they put on boots that have a zipper. They
yeah.
call them dress
Dude, you
boots.
got
I
fancy
work in a
for-
lab
You got fancy
and
for
had
Blue Run.
closed-toe shoes.
And live in a village
Yeah.
with other rednecks.
Yes.
So that's
Very
100%.
true.
accurate.
Love it. Those are foot protectors right there.
There
Yes.
you go.
Yeah.
That's been boot, by the way. How descriptive. Listen, Namir, the first guy ever who said, what are we going to call him? Somebody should have said foot protector. Somebody instead said boot, and they're like, sure,
Boot.
whatever. Who cares? Absolutely red on the Maker's 46 cast strength. Also, like zebra gum, blue, and butterscotch drops. What? Keegan Burdoff, thanks for the super chat. I don't understand what that meant.
I don't know what
So-
zebra gum is.
All right. So, what do you guys?
Dang.
Are you guys? I just poured. Well, I drank the rest of the 14.
I drank more of the 13.
I'm forever saddened by that.
So,
yeah.
Dan, what do you think of the 14?
I genuinely okay. So we have a full shelf of source whiskey.
Mhm.
That's I think all of it's around barrel
Catfish
proof. We'll
strength,
call
yeah.
it, yeah. And that easily, it's a shelf of all the stuff you can't buy anymore. It's a bunch of old sourced. I say old. It's not dusty.
No.
It's like all the old MGP stuff, like Boone County and Blonde Bros and like
When
that
everyone
type
was-
of sourcing.
basically the 12 to 14 year MGP stuff that everyone was dropping for like a year straight.
Yeah, when it like MGP, like old MGP boomed, right? So I would immediately put that bottle on that shelf, and it belongs there 100%. And those are
Yep.
some of our favorite bottles in the hut. So
Wow.
Dan already said it, but it'll definitely go. We'll get a bottle. Don't worry. It'll blind very high at the end of the year it's probably one of my favorite things I've had this year so
Well,
far.
so often when we review stuff like on Mondays or something, if we review a bottle on a Monday, like if we like it a lot, we'll be like, we'll mention it that this will be in some blind. At the end of the year, basically what we do is we run like what we take like the 20
Top
releases
20th,
or something like that, and just say let's blind these 20 until we get like a top 5 or top 10, whatever we're gonna do that year, right? So, realistically, we've done that this year with Old Forester 117.
Yep.
The limited
Russell's 13.
distillery only series. We did that with the Russell's Reserve 13, which was their barrel proof release.
Mm-hmm.
And then 100% with that bottle right there. So without a doubt.
Nice.
But
That's
without a doubt.
good to know. And what do you
Fantastic.
think of the comparison? What do you think a year in the barrel did for it?
I personally like the 14 more. If I'm being
I think it
honest
got
with you.
sweeter.
Yeah.
I think it kind of lost some of the oakiness in the back end, and it transitioned to sweeter in the front.
Yep.
I thought instantly like a chocolate covered raisin almost, like it's sweet, and then you kind of get like the darker fruit
Are
notes.
you putting raisins out here right now?
You not like raisins?
You're going raisins. You go like fig. Like what is your Gabby made those
Dates.
date bars?
Okay,
Super sweet,
fine.
rich, delectable.
Chocolate covered dates for Dan.
Well, because I go with like it's more sugary. Like
Mhm.
it's so sweet.
Yeah.
It's super rich. Super rich. I love it. Honestly, I love it. So
It's great.
I
We're happy to
think-
hear that.
is that proof down or is that barrel proof?
It's proof down.
Okay, that's amazing, dude.
We put
That's
at the same proof as the 13, yeah, Mike?
Is it?
Yeah, same
113?
proof as the
Man.
13, and it came down about. I mean, I think we had to maybe bring it down 15, 16 points, something like that,
Okay.
to get to 113. I mean, it's
Man.
but look,
I can't believe
it's
that's
great.
cut. That's
It's
really
great.
good.
It really right. I mean, it's great. It's great at barrel strength, and we were just coming off of the 13 and a half. The 13 and a half single barrel is actually much older, not much, but a little bit older than 13 and a half.
Okay.
Just due to supply chain constraints and whatnot. So, we got a handful of extra months on that single barrel, which, depending on, I think I sent you guys a sample, right? Of the single barrel.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
You sent
remember-
two different single barrels.
Which ones did I send? Do you remember?
I don't. One was one said like black cherry or something on it.
Oh, okay. Number 5. Yeah.
Okay, that one was amazing, and I don't remember what the other one said on it. Why are you giving me that look? We drank those together on a live stream.
Oh, those samples.
Damn it, I
Okay,
missed
never
it.
mind.
Yeah, we drank them. I think
Like a week or two ago.
probably 2-3 weeks ago range. Dude, they're amazing. I honestly haven't had. I'm really interested to taste your guys' younger products
Mm-hmm.
because the way that these products are being put out now, you guys have Jim, right? So, which is awesome. Which seemingly was a great move.
Seems to be working out well.
Shit's fantastic. So, with you guys putting these out, they're so good, and I'm so excited and so hopeful that the younger products are so damn good too. Because when a distillery can put we were talking about earlier, the distillery in Michigan, it's Pingree, and they put out Valentine, they put out Pingree products. Those younger products are still so good, and they're still like something we recommend to everybody. And we try to, like, if people haven't had it, we try to help them, obtain at least tasting it. And it's because it's like they're doing such a good job all around. The sourcing's great, the blending's great, the distillate's great, everything. So,
Yeah.
With that relationship with Pingree, we've talked to their master distiller and blender a lot, and him telling us basically how hard blending actually is. There's so much work that goes into it that people don't know about.
Yeah.
And it was like, I have a degree in chemistry, and then he instantly lost me, and I was like, all right, there's a cat. He got me. He got me.
I have an outdoor cat that just walks in here when he wants to be on the street.
Yeah, but
Awesome.
Justin was like explaining what he does and why, and the adding things in certain order, and it was like there is so much finesse that goes into putting a good product, especially something like this, back to back out. So congratulations, guys.
Wait, so we're about to. So who over there blends your guys? No, Jim blends your guys stuff. That's the dumbest question of the stream. We can move on.
Well, Devon does it. I mean, he does shoes and blend. No,
You guys definitely would not want that. Yeah.
well, yeah, but you're totally right on age. Like, I'm a sucker for an age statement. I think a lot of people are.
Sure.
But I mean, this younger distillate that Jim put together is just amazing. I mean, like I'm also a sucker for a nose, right? And the nose on this younger distillate doesn't smell young, right? I mean, it really has this like aroma of having been in the barrel for a hell of a lot longer, which is really cool. So we're gonna keep throwing some surprises out there. We're not going to we're not out for quick bucks. We're not gonna start like flooding the market with low 90 proof product that's super young and not quite ready.
Sure.
Right? Like we're trying to do things differently. We're trying to make great product. We're trying to make it look good. We're trying to be accessible. All right. So if you hit us up on Instagram or Facebook or email, we're going to get back to you. And it's not just going to be like, some automated system, that's we've offshored. It's going to be us. Like,
That's what Dan does.
It really is. It's going to be us.
You DM our Instagram account. You get 1 of 5 responses.
Yeah,
Good
every
luck.
time, no matter what. Like, hey, what do you think about Pappy Van Winkle? I'm like, I bet it's in Chicago. They're like, what? What? So, okay, Scott Smith wants to know if Mike and Devon could rate any distillery for product. Which one are you picking? What distillery are you choosing?
Huh.
Oh wow. Well, I think the smart choice is Buffalo Trace, right?
Kind of feels that way.
I mean, like
don't they own?
Just for the variety alone, and then also, if you're trying to make a quick buck and you got all that stuff.
That's not where I thought you were going.
And then a follow-up question: dude. What Weller label are you going to put on it?
Well,
oh, that's funny. Well, they have so many mash bills. I think with the mash bills with being the mash bill 1, 2, and then they have the weeder, and then they have a rye. I mean, not a lot of people have 4 ripping out like really high end products at the same time like that.
Yeah, it's pretty difficult. I mean, I feel like it's hard for us to have one pretty awesome product out at a time. Right? Like, but we're still new to the scene, right? Like, I mean, I bet you if, outside of the, the 30,000 people who are, part of the Bourbon Junkies community, like we're still getting out there. Like we're not as well known as we'd like to be. We want to get more bottles in more people's hands and have them share them with their friends and get out there and like, share the love and spread the word because, like if we keep small and insular, like, we're never going to be on people's radars. And, I don't know, name any state that we're not in right now.
Well, I mean, realistically, for having dropped 2 products in the market, and then both of those being limited products at the time, having the distribution you guys already have is pretty crazy. Like, there's a ton of craft distilleries putting out a lot higher volume that don't have any distribution. You know what I mean? So you guys are already at least out and about more than a lot of people are. So. That's,
we've been really like thoughtful about how we went about distribution also, right? Like, we've gotten a lot of knocks on the doors of people who've, wanted to distribute our products or even control states who are like, hey, we'd like, we have an order for, for a case. And it's like, we want to go where we're wanted first and foremost. Like we've been really responsive to the distributors who've said, who've basically said like, we're going to work with you rather than, you're going to go do all the work and you're going to hand sell each bottle that goes onto every shelf. Right. Like if people aren't excited to work with us, we're not going to work with them. It's really worked out well so far. Distribution's hard, right? Like it's very difficult.
Sounds like a nightmare to me.
I mean, we make fun of Sean there and his boots, but like this is not a hillbilly industry. This is like,
he doesn't know the history.
Right.
Listen, Sean's grandpa making moonshine would argue differently. All right,
he might. By the way, if he still has some of those barrels available, we'll take them. But Right.
Will you steal drums?
It's crazy because like what people getting into whiskey don't understand right away, but probably eventually figure out if they stay in whiskey a little bit, is distribution is such a nightmare. It's insane. Like from every perspective, from your guys' perspective of trying to get distribution to the places you want it, right? And enough of it. For a consumer like Sean and I wanting to go to our local shop and be able to like, we want to see a BTAC? Probably not. You're gonna have to sell about $8 million bottles of Fireball and $200 million.
You like Wheatley vodka?
Yeah. So like, and distributors play like basically all of the role in that, right? At least in a lot of states, not all of them, but in a handful of them. So the fact that distribution isn't like, it's such a nightmare all around. It's something
Plus control states exist.
Control state. We're almost in prohibition. It's like we're like a weird, like shitty prohibition where it's like not real prohibition, it's like fake prohibition, but there's still
because you can't get the whiskey you want.
People are still whispering prohibition in other people's ears because it's still like, dude, I don't know.
Well, it's true though. It's true though, because if you look at the wine industry, right? Like it's full DTC. You can buy from any winery you want, have it shipped. It's really easy.
That's perfect.
Right?
Yeah.
Let's do that.
Yep.
I choose that.
That's you know, we'd like that too. But you know, that said, we have been fortunate to work with some really awesome distributors who've done a great job for us. You know, introduced our product into markets, you know, that knew nothing about us.
Sure.
And so, you know, we're happy with where we're at. We just like to get more bottles directly in the hands of the people who want to drink them.
Right. Yeah. I distributors are the devil. I mean, they just are, you know, not all the time, but most often, I guess I'd say. At least up here in Michigan, they're pretty miserable. So,
never had really good run-ins with that.
Look, I would say, I mean, coming from, you know, the industry that I also work in of fashion, sneakers, apparel, whatever, it's been a huge eye opener for me. Things are just done completely different in the spirits business. I talk to these guys all the time. I'm like, wait, what? You can't do that.
What do you mean you can't do that?
Like, I mean, it's a pretty antiquated way of kind of getting product to the market. It's really, I mean, you know, my biggest thing, Mike is always getting my texts of, you know, the fact that retailers can set any price they want for a product, regardless of what the MSRP is really unique for alcohol. You know, I mean, that's typically not how it goes. So that's been kind of like a big one for me and in particular, and just kind of diving into a little bit of like the reasoning behind it, which there kind of is no reasoning, to be completely honest.
It was wrote in a book 26 years ago.
Yeah.
We live by that now.
Yes.
Well, the reason is they can make a lot of money, right?
I was just going to say taxation, but
taxation, but like, you know, I mean, if you can take a $200 bottle and sell it for $600 or $800,
right?
And it doesn't sit on the shelf.
If you can take a $10 bottle and then, you know, this person gets their cut and that person adds their cut onto it, and then, oh, well, we need to add this onto it, and you know, well, now it's $100. It's like, what just happened?
Yeah. Sometimes we think we're in the wrong business. Like, wait a minute.
So here's what's interesting is there's a secondary market for shoes, just like there is whiskey. Do you feel the same on, however you do feel the same on secondary market for whiskey and shoes, or do you differ? Do you not care about either?
Well, secondary market's a whole different thing, because now that's a rogue market, right? You know, now you're dealing with people that have paid retail at some point, and then now you can charge whatever you want. You know, you have no contract to play. What and so like back to sneakers, you know, is like it's no secret that when, you know, there's releases that come out that are going to go on the secondary market for 10 times what we're going to sell them for, right? But our retailers are bound to a price structure agreed upon. You see what I'm saying? Secondary. You know, that's anarchy. You know what I mean? Which I'm cool.
Yeah.
But just, and look, I'm not saying it's right or it's wrong. It was just a little bit of an eye opener for me that, I mean, like literally, like, you know, SRP is not really a thing. You know what I mean? It's it's a number that anybody could say, but ultimately it's up to the store, the retailer, to set whatever price they want. You know?
Right.
Yeah.
I'm gonna read the Old Face Maker super chat. I'm gonna read it because I'm a gentleman.
Okay.
I'm not a sore loser. What's a good one? I'm a good loser.
You're good at losing.
There you go. So he super chat and said his Blue Run considered making. You guys don't have to answer this because it's him making fun of me, but he said his Blue Run considered making 136 proof rye and finishing it in French oak port barrels to make Dan an unwitting futurist. So unfortunately, I blind Midwinter Night's Dram from High West, which is about 99 proof, but I had really bad heartburn, aka whiskey injury, and I called it 136 proof on accident, not because I didn't know what it was. And now he's, I listen. Actually, if you guys would just run a single bottle of a port finish rye, you can call it port finish. We won't even have to TTB it.
Do you think we need a counter to be like, it's been this many weeks since Dan talked about the incident?
There was a competition and I lost. It's a long story. I won't bother you guys with it. All right. Thank you for the super chat, buddy. Dude, everybody in chat said, here we go again.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Fine. We won't get into it. But do you guys pay attention to whiskey secondary markets with Blue Run and that kind of stuff or no? Like seeing it on there and that kind of stuff or no?
So we don't seek it out. But I will say that a lot of people send me information that I share with the team. So it's a weird thing, right? I just mentioned earlier, we want to get bottles in the hands of people who are going to drink them, right? Yep. That's what we want. We can't, we're so small. We can't stop secondary. Secondary is going to occur.
Yeah,
Devin, what do you think?
What do it's not something I track. We have honest conversations of from this is the business part of what is this whiskey, what do we have to do in a fair way to make what we need to make to run this business.
Right.
What happens after that is it's out of our control. So it's not
100%.
It's not really
it's a bit of a free market sort of thing.
Yeah, it is. It is 100%.
That's what I was gonna say. Is the resale market will always be there. There's no way it's ever gonna go away. But then, as a side note, you got to feel a little good that people want to pay that much for your bottle.
You did a good job.
I guess
Yeah, I mean, you're right. I guess if anything, it's less about the number, but more about the testament of what people think. If somebody's willing to pay that, I would associate with what they think of our product, which does feel good, right?
Sure.
Right. They're not pouring Blue Run down the drain. So right. I don't know what's going to happen with, we sold 9 complete sets of the single barrel. I don't know how many other people have been able to assemble complete sets, but I'm just hoping those don't end up on secondary, right? Those.
Wait, so when you say complete set, what are you referencing?
One bottle from each barrel.
Oh, that's super cool. Okay.
We did. So our single barrel, we had 10 single barrels.
Okay.
We released them numbered. They each had different tasting, et cetera. And so what Mike is saying is, in addition to selling the single bottles from each, we had a limited number, which was 9, where you could buy. We assemble a set for you. You get all 10 barrels.
Super cool. Okay.
Yeah.
That's a good idea. I like that idea a lot.
So, but those, I want people to drink those, right? I really want people to drink those side by side. It's going to be, pretty epic, I think, and mind blowing in terms of the proofs range from 124 to I think 133.
Okay.
That's all you guys get, man.
And then he was like, "I'm out of information."
He dropped
Goodbye.
the mic and he just left, dude. Well, the shitty part is, like you said, I don't think most normal level-headed people blame either non-distilling producers or distilleries or whoever is making the whiskey or coming out with it for it being on secondary, right? Yeah. I mean, realistically, unless distilleries are holding product back intentionally to create an allocated market, there's no distillery that's get our stuff on secondary and let's rip, because they're not making any money at that point.
So the reality of it is, and again, we have such such limited product that I mean, it's not like I'm sitting on a stockpile. We are lucky if we get 1 or 2 bottles from our own release, you know.
Sure.
Yeah.
So you know, and that's just like, again, that's just the facts. Like we want to get a product out to the people who want to actually try our product. We're a brand new brand. It actually does it doesn't help us to hold bottles back to provide on the secondary market, which will sit around and people won't taste it and then, you know, see what else we have to offer.
Sure.
Yeah.
I think that realistically, like you said, a bottle goes up on secondary. You're like, damn it, that guy's an asshole, motherfucker. And then you go, how much did it go for? That's immediately what happens next, right? But on top of that, realistically, like, secondary is what it is. Like you said, it's a rogue market. I don't think I know that a very large distillery supposedly hired lawyers and blah, 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 blah. The problem is there's just a lot of people who just don't give a shit and are willing to make Facebook groups for the rest of their lives, right? So the problem is like people aren't really getting in trouble. It's like groups are getting shut down.
Yeah.
Right. There's no like,
and then those people start a new group and it continues.
Yeah. But sometimes not all the time, but in a rare occasion, secondary can provide somebody the opportunity to get a bottle that isn't distributed to them that they can't find otherwise. And I know it's not legal and I'm not preaching everybody should do it, but what I'm saying is like there are stores in New York selling a bottle for 8 times secondary on a shelf in a store legally, right?
Yeah.
And then there's a guy in like
BFM.
where Sean lives,
Okay.
where they don't even believe in liquor. And
Rude.
they don't distribute there, right? And so Sean's only option at that point is to pay or whatever. But
right,
I don't know, man. It's interesting.
It is. I mean, look, it's a philosophical question.
True.
There's pros and cons to both. The absolute what you just described is like, I mean, if you really want to try something, you know, I mean, you don't have another option aside from going to the secondary market, you know?
Sure. Fair. Yeah, I don't know. It's very interesting. The secondary market is and now during like COVID for whatever reason, it like exploded.
Things got wild.
It like Elmer T. Lee went from like 125, 130 a bottle to like 250 or 300 a bottle. Like like George C. Sags were like 400, now they're like 600. Like everything exploded. It's crazy.
Yeah.
It's just, you know, I don't know. But okay, here's the thing.
Go ahead.
I'm gonna be honest.
Mm-hmm.
We're gonna learn how to blend someday. No, okay, I should rephrase that. We're gonna blend something someday.
We're just gonna hire Matt. What's up?
We gotta talk. You know what? Someday we gotta do this with Jim too, so he can be like, "Hey, you guys are idiots. Just here's like a quick 101 on this type thing." You know what I mean?
He's too nice to say that. I'll leave that.
But for you, he'll make an exception.
But for me, he'll do it once. You know what I mean?
Yeah. There you go.
Oh, look at our blender's already in.
Is it Porter?
Yeah, he said I'm in.
Matt, get up to Michigan. We need you. I always get. Wait, Bull Run is another whiskey, isn't it? It is kind of close. Completely different bottle design and labels and everything.
I like how your mind just shot to that.
No, somebody said that.
Oh.
That's what Nick Full said. Sometimes I get Blue Run mixed up with Bull Run.
One's got a butterfly.
One of them looks a lot nicer. And it's Blue Run, if I'm being honest. We have a bottle of Bull Run right over there. It's fine, but you know, it's not this. So, all right. I lost my train of thought. I'm sorry.
Oh,
I thought you were going somewhere.
Second Amendment 2012 made a comment about it. Like every bottle he opens, he gets open. So, you know, like that's the goal.
That's the
right?
goal. Yeah.
Yeah, because someone always asked us like, what do we bunker? And I think Dan's, what do you got, like 8 maybe that aren't open?
Probably got like
house?
15 now.
Really? Wow.
Probably. We also have open bottles of almost all those.
I don't think I own an unopened bottle at this point in time.
Sean's got a half-empty Basil Hayden for those who want to make fun of him for it.
I think it's in the hut.
Or is that half full? Is that half full?
Yeah, at Basil Hayden.
Unfortunately, it's still half full. Yeah. Oof. That's somewhere down in the basement. Yeah. It's probably gonna be there until I move, and then I just give it away.
Yeah, give it to somebody. Help me move.
Uh-huh.
So you guys are gonna do these once a quarter. The limiteds once a quarter.
There's going to be one release a quarter.
Okay.
So, and then you guys, but like some of these, the younger products are going to be more larger releases, more consistent, or those are included in the once a quarter releases?
Those are included. Those
Okay.
are included, you know,
Okay.
and like I said, we'll have some Easter eggs. We'll have some surprises along
Sure.
the way that, you know, should be pretty cool. You know, but you know, we're consistency is something that that, you know, obviously we seek in terms of the quality of our product, but our release schedule is pretty set. You know, unless the supply chain gets completely blown up even more than it did over the last year, then you
Sure.
know, all bets are off, right?
Yeah.
You know, but that's the goal. One release every you know, call them seasonal releases.
Yeah.
And you know, we'll throw some curveballs at you.
Do you guys
like
ever
it.
see transitioning to brick and mortar and doing your own distilling or anything like that?
I mean, it's not in the current business plan. You know, what we would like to do, and you know, we're in the very, very early stages, is we'd like to have some sort of tasting room experience, a place for people to visit.
That'd be awesome.
You know, but you know, I mean, we launched in October of 2020, right? Like we're like the newest kids on the block,
Right.
right. And so first goal is to make sure that we get product out there that people, you know, are gonna want to buy.
Yeah.
Right. So I think
So far, so good.
So far, we've checked that box, right? But you know, we're still growing. We've got a lot of irons in the fire. You know, we'd like to be, you know, like I said, we're accessible. We'd like to be even more accessible, right? We want people to come visit us, or maybe we'll just show up at people's doorsteps and be like, "Hey, we're here."
I'll give you Dan's address.
Yeah, I'll give you my address too if you bring either one of any of the three you guys have. So
that's cool, because I mean, like, I can imagine there are a lot of things in your bar that I'd like to.
Hey, if you get a bottle of Black Label, you can have anything in the hut. So
yeah, well, I'll tell you this: I don't have a single bottle. I don't know about you, Devin, but I don't have a single bottle of the single barrel to my name. Like, and you know, I mean, you've probably done these things with live streams with, like, you know, other founders of bourbon companies where they've got this full, like, bookshelf in back of them with, like, hundreds of bottles, right?
Right.
We don't do that. And the reason we don't do that is because, like, that product was so limited that there was no reason to, like, you know, to like hoard it for ourselves.
Sure.
Every single bottle we could get out there in somebody's hands was one more, right?
Sure.
Yeah, I mean, literally, the bottle we photographed for images for press, we also sold that bottle. Like, you know, and that, like, to Mike's point, like, you know, there's not a lot of it. We're a new brand. We want people to taste the product right now. You know, I mean, it's not about holding back or, you know, or saving or right now. It's truly is about, you know, how are we getting the most amount of people to try our stuff?
Sure.
Yeah. Although I'd kill for a bottle from Barrel 10.
Mike, real quick, buddy, you're really hard to hear right now.
Okay, sorry about that.
That's all right.
I'm having some continued audio and.
Oh, that's way better.
Issues.
You fixed it.
That's better. Yeah. So
that's way better.
Okay, so as I was saying, I would kill.
I'm sorry about your internet.
Barrel number 10.
I'll do better.
Yeah, thanks. If you could, that would be great.
I'll do
better. Was the one. Barrel number 10 of that from the single barrel was the one for me.
Okay.
That was a complete hitter for me.
That's so. Okay, real quick, I got to read this because I'm going to forget to.
Oh,
Daniel
yeah,
sent us a super chat, and he said, "Good thing about secondary markets, anyone who doesn't want to participate in it is free not to. I think it's a crucial part of the whiskey and the community. Unfortunately, it's illegal, Dan. But other than that, I view it as a supplemental alternate distribution. Now, here's the thing: I don't disagree. You know, if you know,
being honest,
I don't disagree, but I think that sometimes what it leads to is a lot of people just buying like 8 bottles at a time and then dumping them on secondary. And like there were 8 people in that city who could have also got those bottles that would have opened them and drank them. And you know, it is what it is. But I honestly, like Devon said, there are both. I see both sides. It is a philosophical thing in which it does help people, but it does also hurt people. You know, the distilleries, realistically, people putting out whiskey products, once it gets to the distributor, they're done making money on the product, right? I could be wrong, but I believe that's correct. So I think that
no, you're right.
Someone is selling it and mailing them a check, like, here's your cut.
I've literally now if we had pretend lawyers for a second, they'd tell me not to say I've definitely heard of that happening before. Not to us, for real, but
shut.
You brought it up. That's for sure happened. Coupons, like they call it. Anyway.
Coupons.
But yeah, it's I don't know, man. We've talked about it a little bit, but secondary is so free market. It's very much like is that capitalism when you just it is what it's worth and you know, blah 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 blah. People pay what they pay for it, you know, I guess. But if somebody, I swear to God,
I mean, look, I bought sneakers on StockX, right? Like I've gone to StockX and bought sneakers.
Sure.
Right. You know, I personally don't participate in the bourbon secondary market, but it's out there, and I know that people are out there probably making a good living. I mean, there have been articles about the people who are making a pretty good living as you know, flippers, really.
Well, like Adam said, part of the problem is like lack of regulation.
You know, it is what it is.
Well, they couldn't. The problem is like there were a bunch of 4-grain fakes, like kind of recently from H. Taylor, and I mean, hell, Bourbon Pursuits had somebody on. I don't think they released the name or whatever, but they had somebody on who literally was flipping, like I think they were calling it. They were putting Weller Special Reserve in like BTAC bottles or something like that.
Yeah,
like
WLW bottles.
Where they're just faking it all and then they're flipping it and they're still making, you know, they paid $20 for a bottle of Special Reserve and they make $500 on it or whatever.
Yeah.
So I think the problem is like there's so little regulation. Yeah. I've had it come to find out, I found out later, but I've had it where I had a bottle of EH Taylor 4-grain when it was released in 2018 in my hands. They told me that it was set aside for somebody at the store, so I couldn't buy it. So I didn't buy it. The guy came and picked it up while I was there. And I found out later he flipped it on secondary. I'm like, I literally was going to buy that and open it with the store owner. And it went on secondary. It's like, this is like, now these are just the downsides, obviously. But, you know, I don't know. I think there's a lot to it. I think there's a lot of discussion.
Fireball?
Which one?
The 4-grain?
I won a Fireball, and I got an HCR 4-grain for $40, so karma's a bitch. You know what I mean? But here we are.
Yeah, hey, look, it's interesting. Talk about the parallels between sneakers and whiskey. There's a lot of retailers right now that are making the customers who buy the sneakers put them on before they leave the store.
Okay,
walk out with them, you know,
right.
And that's a little bit of their way of trying to squash some of the reselling.
Sure.
And look, the other point too is StockX is an interesting thing. StockX is the regulation. Right, is the regulation for the secondary market. Okay. Because they're verifying that it's
okay.
What you say it is, or the middleman. You know, it's not one person, person A to person B. It's person A to StockX. They look over, make sure it's legit. They handle the transact. So it's a little bit. It's kind of like it's the in-betweener, right?
Right.
It's not retail, and it's technically not secondary market. It is secondary market, but again, it's still it's still got a little bit of a governor on it.
Right. Yeah, that kind of helps. Okay, hold on. Do you guys watch?
Oh, good. Are you gonna go for a YouTube channel here?
No. Oh. Do you guys watch any boxing, social media, that kind of stuff?
Oh.
Some.
Okay. Do you know the Floyd Mayweather just boxed Jake Paul? Logan Paul?
Where are we going with this?
Hold on.
Okay.
This is very important.
Yes. All right.
Okay. I don't give a shit about the boxing match.
All right.
Logan Paul walked out. This is about secondary, kind of. Logan Paul walked out with the Charizard card attached to like a gold chain on his neck. That Charizard card comes.
It's like 1 of 3 in the world.
It's 1 of 3 left that you're talking about. Is like them regulating, right?
Yeah.
So Pokemon cards, there's like this huge market, blah, 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 whatever, but they're regulated because they can be minted or like conditioned and whatever.
Right. PSA is one of them.
So the one that he had on his neck, come to find out, is one of 3 that is like regulated and said that it was of like the highest quality ever.
Yeah.
That
It's
card,
like $100,000.
buddy.
What?
Not. The card's worth right now estimated $750 to $1 million.
My bad.
750, and he was wearing it on his neck, walking out to a boxing.
I didn't think it was that much.
That's what the like. But there's regulation on that secondary market too, because people can. There's like a way to verify it, right? And it's not illegal to sell them. And,
Right.
dude, I'll never forget that the man wore
Well,
$1 million
in his next
necklace.
match,
Sorry, what was that?
I was going to say in his next match, he's actually going to be wearing a bottle of Blue Run around his neck.
Oh, good.
I love
Dude,
it.
if you can make that happen. Oh,
That's it. You talk about marketing. That's it right there.
I was gonna say,
Maybe
no,
we go
I-
St. Bernard style with a full barrel around his neck.
See, I was thinking. I thought shooter for a second, like you make a one-off shooter, but I think you're right. I think you go bigger. Like,
Oh, yeah.
You want it to be
Yeah.
as obnoxious as possible, realistically.
it's got to be full too. Full barrel.
Well,
He's just thieving out of the barrel.
I keep asking Devon. I'm begging. I've been begging Devon for how long? Maybe 2 years, Devon, to make a Blue Run turnover chain. You know, like an oversized butterfly necklace. It's gigantic,
I like it.
It kind of fits though.
and I haven't gotten it.
It kind of fits
I mean,
though.
Oh, there's
yeah.
that big spider. You made it all the way around.
That's a kind of a shitty little spider.
That was a big old
We
spider.
basically do this outdoors, seemingly.
Yeah.
So
I mean,
Sounds
hey,
dangerous.
one of the original ideas, if you look at that butterfly up close, there's a little gap in the metal where the antenna kind of separates from the. Like we had discussed at one point, like, is that big enough to string a chain thing through? So we actually, I have some samples that would work. It just looked like proportionally, just looked a little strange.
sure.
But I mean, you know, I think that's a little bit of where we started. Of like, hey, how do we do something a little bit different? How do we also like create a little bit of fun with this? You know?
Do you guys? Is this custom glass to you guys, or did you guys source the glass? I don't know anybody else that uses the shape.
We get our glass from France.
Okay.
It's not custom to
Okay.
us, but there's I don't know, maybe one other brand that uses
Okay.
it. But yeah, I mean, it really is like we did our research on glass. There's a whole rabbit hole you could go. no pun intended. There's a whole black hole you can get into in terms of glass, and we talked to I don't know how many people about the highest quality glass and ultimately like who has the best craftsmanship, et cetera. And we landed on a company that's overseas.
There's market research on everything.
Of course.
Yeah. Bottle shape.
What we do is
all that
obsessive.
stuff.
It's obsessive, you know.
Oh, yeah.
I kind of am into this idea of like the glass rabbit hole though, and I don't know why. I have no idea why I'm
you're a
interested,
dummy.
but I'm a little interested. I want to see every bottle shape.
Oh, I know
want to
why.
feel every bottle shape.
Because you want someone to explain to you why, when you see something, you have this impulse to buy it. 100%.
Listen, it's not that part
That's
for me.
what Devon.
Doesn't feel
That's what
extrinsic,
Devon understands. I mean, you know, he saw this and he was like, "This is the one."
right?
Like this is what's going to resonate with people.
Well, it just stands
know.
out. The standing out right now in whiskey with, I mean, if we're being honest, and I don't have any problem with it, but there's if you go to like if you go to like Party Source, I guarantee there's at least 30 labels you've never heard of before on those shelves of whiskey right now.
Yeah.
And they range in pricing, right? Like some are $20, some are $50, some are $300, whatever it is.
I mean, on top of that, we're sitting in a building with 600 plus bottles. There are very few unique bottles among
Glass shape, you're
Yeah,
saying?
like this is unique.
It is.
We can probably count them on
I don't know who else uses
maybe
the
one
bottle
or two
shape.
hands on how many unique bottles actually exist out here.
Yeah. Well, some of them are custom too, right?
Yeah.
So
As far as
That
we
was
know, nobody else in the bourbon industry uses this bottle.
Okay.
The one we know about is I think it's a rum or something.
okay.
But yeah, I mean, that was a conscious decision.
Right.
Back to, you know, everything that we've kind of mentioned, standing out, and also just changing a little bit of like the expected aesthetic of what whiskey is.
Are you guys into cigars at all?
A little bit.
Okay.
Only in Cuba.
Oh, wait. Did you say only a Cuban, good sir?
Only in Cuba. Yep.
Oh, only in Cuba. Okay.
Never been.
Okay.
Been to
that's fair.
Jamaica.
Okay.
You can go to Cuba from
This
Jamaica.
is better.
It's just better in Cuba. Here's the problem. You want to talk about secondary market? There's people on beaches selling fake Cubans right now for like $3 a piece.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah. We've seen so many. One just came up not long ago in the group that someone bought a sampler, and people were like, "That's not real, bud."
There was like a Cohiba and a bunch of other Cubans in there, and they were like, "Cohiba's never done samplers."
Some guy,
like that.
one of the people definitely knew his stuff because they were like, "All right, let me break down like 5 quick points of why this is fake," and went through like why the band was fake, and it was like, okay, people know their stuff.
So Alec, who we were talking about a little while ago, I told you guys, Alec sent me that picture of the King of Kentucky and the Blantons and then the Blue Run. Alec is in chat now, and he missed it earlier. He said, "I just sent you a picture." He meant picture. I just sent you a picture of King Kentucky and Blue Run. You only cared about the Blue Run, LOL. So Alec, I mentioned that I brought you up earlier because of that same story. So I'm glad that you're here to verify it at least. But
he's definitely in his garage, just drunk, smoking a cigar.
Smoking a cigar right now. But yeah, like, I don't know. I'm glad that you guys are doing more projects, and I didn't know you guys are doing 1 1/4. I like that. That's fantastic. I think 1 1/4, especially when you can do like the younger, bigger releases, is going to be even like more awesome for consumer sake because more people are going to see it.
You also kind of blew my mind when you were like, "Well, we launched in October of 2020." I was like, "Man, that doesn't feel right," but okay.
Which makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, it's
because our buddy helped us get this last year.
Yes.
Wes helped us get this last year, and the funny thing is I still have the text.
Yeah, where did you get that? Like,
so. There's a guy, and his name is
I wonder because somebody sent me. Oh, sorry, really quickly. Somebody sent me like a screenshot of you pounding that bottle, and right, and that's what actually led me to reach out to you and be like, "Hey, what's up?" Right, like, because you don't. I've never seen that
being
before.
a dummy.
You're welcome.
Worked out.
Yeah, finally.
Right. So yeah, where did you get that? Like, you're in Michigan.
Yeah. So there's a guy, our friend, his name is Wes,
a couple states south of us,
and he is he watches the channel from time to time. I don't believe he drinks, or at least when him and I started talking, he didn't drink whiskey at all, but he really liked the idea of whiskey and collecting it. So he wanted to like find bottles with cool labels that look different that he didn't see very often. He'd buy those and he'd just keep them at his house. He didn't know anything about it, didn't know what brands were whatever. So one day, what he ended up doing often was like one of the shelves behind us. All the shelves behind us are in the live stream set are all donated bottles from people who watch the channel. So one of the entire shelves was from Wes at one point.
Yeah.
And because he'd just like, he'd find something and he'd be like, "Do you have this?" I'm like, "No." And he just sends it. And that's like, there's not even conversation. Told him to stop doing it. He won't stop doing it. So anyways, one day he walks in and he goes, "Have you ever heard of this?" He sends me a picture of this bottle right here. I said, "I've not heard of that." And he goes, "Do you know if it's any good?" And I said, "I have not a clue. I don't know anything, literally nothing about it." He goes, "I'm going to send it up." So he sends it up, hand delivers it, as Tommy said. He brings it up here and I opened it. Like I said earlier, not knowing anything about it. And I text him. I'm like, "Holy shit, dude." And he goes, "I bought another one. Is it good?" And I'm like, "It's amazing." And I'm like, "You don't even drink. Why did you buy 2?" And he sends me like his wall and he's like, "Look how pretty it is though." Swear to God, the guy's not a flipper. Like he's not even on secondary. He only shops in person in the state he lives in. And he's got like this incredibly cool collection of everything's one bottle, right? Like he buys one of each label that he likes. And it's like,
it's fantastic.
It's fantastic. But so we ended up getting it from him, and I'm glad we did because, I mean, like you said, obviously it doesn't come up here at the moment, right? Michigan's a nightmare. So I know getting into Michigan's a nightmare. We tried to do barrel picks up here for a year, and we were trying to do barrel picks with distilleries that didn't distribute to Michigan, and we went through that process with them, and it's just a nightmare. It's just a shit show. So
Michigan, I can appreciate that.
Wes, is Wes on tonight?
I don't. Wes usually works super early, so he'll hit me up like the next day while he's watching a live or something like that. He's never in chat ever.
All right, well, give Wes our give Wes our thanks. I mean,
I'll shoot him a text.
We
Yeah,
appreciate
for
it.
sure. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
What were you gonna say, Devin?
I was just gonna say I can appreciate the approach there. I mean, as a designer and as somebody who appreciates aesthetic, I like the notion of collecting is, I think, really interesting, especially when it comes to bourbon,
Right.
And spirits. You know, it's intriguing, you know, and displaying and like I said, collecting and trading and the culture around it is just something that's pretty cool.
Dude, what's crazy to me, probably Sean and I both, is the community that surrounds whiskey and bourbon. If you can like carve out your own piece of the community, or you can find somebody's community that you fit into really well, it's like the coolest thing in the world. It's crazy.
Absolutely.
Like,
Yeah.
it's a niche community, and it's not a humongous community. It's getting bigger, but
bigger.
The people in it are some of the most generous, loving, caring, like shirt off their back kind of people. And it makes for the coolest conversations. It makes for like insanely cool hangouts. You know what I mean? It just makes for a lot of cool memories, honestly.
Mhm.
But,
Yeah. Absolutely.
We agree. We've we've experienced a lot of that. I mean, and gosh, the thing's hardest about all of this is like we want to sit down and share a pour with everybody we've met. And
right.
Launching in the teeth of the pandemic, right? Like literally as it was like as bad as it could have been.
Sure.
Has not really made that possible yet, right?
Sure.
But it's a great community. Nice people willing to share. And even within the industry itself, not a lot of sharp elbows. Like people are kind and generous and willing to talk and share their experiences. It's been really been really cool.
And people are willing to share whiskey, which is like 100%. The coolest part. Like, you have something and they have something, and everybody's cool to share it, to give somebody else a pour.
I would like you guys to experience what I have, and then we can
hang
be
out,
friends,
chill, you know.
Yeah.
But it's perfect, man.
So cool.
Real quick, before we let you guys go, Alec asked, and I forgot which states you said earlier because you said a lot. Alec from Alec Bradley asked if you could, if it's in Florida, can you buy it in Florida? Blue Run.
He could buy it online through Sealbox in Florida, probably on July 7th.
There you go, guys.
That
July
seems
7th.
like a tip to me, if I've ever heard of it.
Roughly July 7th.
Hey, Alec, real quick, buddy.
Yeah.
So I'm going to ship you from Sealbox on July 7th a bottle of whiskey. That's what.
And we'll see you later.
And then we'll figure out how it gets to us eventually. But yeah.
Yeah. So,
all right.
Yeah, right. So guys, a couple quick tips for people who do want to buy bottles online. Sealbox ships to like 12 or 13 states. I think everybody probably knows this, though. If you're not in one of those states, track down a family member or a friend who lives in a state that's nearby, and go pick it up. And we're hoping to spread the love on this 14 year and make sure that not one or two people get all the bottles, but everybody gets gets a chance. It's as you guys said, I think it's worth it.
Yeah, for sure. It's not. Yeah, I wouldn't even consider not at this point, if I'm being completely honest with you. So, but thank you guys for being on. We appreciate you guys taking an hour. I mean, it's been an hour 50 minutes almost. So we appreciate you guys taking time out of your evening and hanging out and chilling and
100%. Thank you guys.
Telling everybody about your guys' story and hanging out with us. So.
Anytime.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
Yeah, appreciate it, gentlemen.
Cool. Thanks, guys.
Thanks, buddy.
Bye-bye.
Have a good night, guys.
Hey, thanks for hanging out and chat.